Hi everyone, it's Jay from Mitosu Crafts. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our channel. I'll be creating a twisting pop-up card using the Pampered Pets bundle with the stamp set and pets dies. I'll also be using the Playful Pets Designer Series paper, but you can use any pattern paper that you have. The card base I'll be using is basic gray. It measures 8 inches by 5.5 or 20.4 centimeters by 14 centimeters. I've also die cut from the layering circle dies the third largest, smoky slate cardstock, and basic black cardstock. You'll also need the fourth largest die from the set, basic gray for the mechanism, as well as smoky slate for the tabs, and basic white for stamping and decorating the card front. So I'm going to start off with stamping in Memento ink on the basic white card, coloring in dark soft suede, dark cinnamon cider, and light cinnamon cider. Starting off with light to dark coloring, and I'm roughly sketching where I want the highlights to be, going in with the midtones, which is the dark cinnamon cider, and then finally going over with the shadows with the dark soft suede. As you can see, I am roughly sketching and creating different marks, cross-hatching and short lines to create the texture for the dog hairs. And I do want that texture, so I am not going over the whole image in one go and just going back with the midtones and the dark tones as well. For the smoky slate, I use that for the dog color, creating highlights more in the center. For the sentiment, I'm using basic black Stampin' Right marker, so coloring in the stamp and then stamping on basic white. Make sure you completely dry that and clean the stamp before going back in and stamping the next sentiment, which is going to be for the inside of the card. And these are just fussy cut using paper snips, or you can use your paper cutter if you have one. The designer series paper measures a quarter of an inch less than the card front, or that is 0.6 centimeters less than the card front. So you have three papers, one for the front and two for the inside. To create the Peekaboo aperture, I'm measuring 5/8 of an inch or 1.6 centimeters from the right hand side and 1.5 inch or 3.8 centimeters from the top, and placing the circle die, which is the fourth from the largest, and die cutting that through the card front. I also die cut the basic black so I can create the black border, which you can add using multi-purpose liquid glue. Just make sure you do erase the pencil marks that you've created beforehand. Next, we're going to work on the first mechanism. This measures 3 inch by 2 inches or 7.6 centimeters by 5 centimeters. You're going to score at half an inch each side, or that is 1.3 centimeters. So just flip it over and score both sides, and then we're gonna create the middle score line, so at 1.5 inch or 3.8 centimeters. Then you're going to create diagonal lines using the first two score line on both ends. As you can see, I'm using the paper trimmer channel to align both ends and then scoring the diagonal lines so you create a crisscross in the middle. And then turn that 90 degrees again on the short edge and score in half at 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. So the next piece measures 4 inch by 2 inch or 10.2 centimeters by 5 centimeters. You just need to score that in half So that's 2" or 5.1 centimeters. Turn it 90 degrees with the short edge on top and just mark the top and the bottom in half. So 1" or 2.5 centimeters. And then again, we are this time we're going to cut from one mark point to the middle score line, move it along, and then cut the other end as well using your paper trimmer. So from the middle score line to the end mark point. So you have a piece that looks like that. So going back on the first mechanism, we're going to create tabs and cut into the mechanism. So cut some sliver off on the left hand side and then completely cut the right hand side of those tabs and create the same on the other side. For the first middle score line, fold that away from you, and then for the diagonal lines, fold that towards you. Use your bone folder to ensure that the folds are burnished nicely and you do have straight edges to make sure that it will fold nicely once it's adhered inside the card. So fold those inside and then cut the middle end so you will have less bulk inside the card. And then finally, I'm just burnishing the middle score line as well. So once you've got your mechanism cut and burnished, you're only gonna adhere two edges or two panels, which I'm going to mark with pencil, and I'm lining the mechanism with the middle score line as well as the Peekaboo aperture that I created. So I'm using Tombow to add glue to those two panels or to those two areas, aligning the center score line to the spine of the card, and then making sure that's centralized within the Peekaboo aperture as well. Do try to fold your card in and out to ensure that the mechanism closes nicely. And now we're going to adhere the two smoky slate circles with the smoky slate tab. So these tabs measure 1" by half an inch and fold it in half at half an inch, or that is 2.6 centimeters by 1.3 centimeters. So I use the edge of that circle die cuts to make sure that the tab doesn't get shown. Use that as a template to then cut the sides of your second mechanism. So all three of the tabs measures the same, and I'm just gluing one end to the second mechanism, and it's half on and half off that diagonal cut line, and then again using Tombow to just make sure that securely adhered on there. So once those two are placed, we're gonna use those tabs. Make sure that the circle tab and joint are straight on top. Add glue first and then place the double circle die cut centrally and then fold that down. So making sure that the bottom edge of both pieces, the mechanism as well as the circle die cut, matches so you don't see much of the basic gray mechanism. Add glue to the other side and then do the same. So it won't open up all the way up, but it will close down when the card closes. Now add glue to the tab on both sides, and we're going to add the second mechanism on top of that. So align the bottom edge of the mechanism and the left edge as well. Turn it over and we're going to glue the other end. So this one, again, when you turn it over, align the bottom edge and the left edge, pinch the middle, and then close down your card. Use your bone folder just to burnish it and make sure that it opens and closes nicely. To decorate the front, I'm using the medium daisy punch in basic white. 3 pieces would be enough. And to create interest for the punch daisy, I'm just using the light smoky slate alcohol blends marker and quickly drawing 3 lines and just 3 strokes from the center to the petals, and then dotting around the middle, and then going back over that again to add different shades and texture for the center of the daisies. Then shape the flowers with your hand or a pierce mat before moving on to adhering the dogs inside the card. So make sure that this one is adhered onto the smoky slate circle die cut and not on the basic black border. And then I'm adding the daisies on the top right and 2 on the bottom left using multi-purpose liquid glue, so it gives me that wiggle room to, if I do change my mind, I can quickly take that off and then move that along. And then adding baker's twine, so using the playful pet string combo, just creating a bow with that and adding that on using mini glue dots. And then finally the sentiment will be added using mini stamping dimensionals. I'm placing this on the card front around the baker's twine and the punch daisies to not add extra bulk on the card front. Then finishing the up with red rhinestone, just a couple of those in the center of the daisies. And finally adding the second dog and sentiment in the inside pop-up using Tombow. So I hope you enjoyed this Peekaboo twisting pop-up card using the Pampered Pets bundle, available from our online shop. Product links can be found in the description below, and don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel if you'd love to see more card making and papercraft inspiration using Stampin' Up! Products. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, bye!